Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Dudes Watch a Movie podcast, videocast, something of the sort. We'll get it down. I am one of your co-hosts and/or host, the host of this episode, Dead Sprocket, joined by my host and co-host,
the notorious G-I-N-G.
Yes, and today we decided after the copious amount of votes that we had received for, so it started out as an idea for what themes we should pick and that people should submit their own. I was ambitious, needless to say. However, putting May the 4th in there, May the Force be with you, just overwhelming amount of votes, and by that I mean 16.
It turns out people like Star Wars.
It's true.
Weird.
It's true.
Weird.
So yes, needless to say, after that overwhelming amount of votes for it, we just decided that we're going to pick, Star Wars movies. Anyway, that being said, I picked my favorite Star Wars movie out of the lot of the movies. We kind of amped it to go against maybe the animated ones. I think we didn't go against it. We kind of had
just didn't pick it.
Yeah.
I like the animated Clone Wars, not the CGI
all,
one, but between episode 1 and 2, they did like a hand-drawn one back in like 2003.
Really?
It was really good.
I don't think I ever went to that one.
It explains why Grievous has such a bad cough.
Anyway, for the movie of my choosing, I picked The Empire Strikes Back. Mostly because of that Hoth battle in the very beginning.
Yep. Solid.
Easily one of the coolest battles I ever thought about. There's just something about fighting in the snow.
I actually have a note in here where I was wondering if this is the movie that made you a fan of snow levels in video games, but also the color palette of like white and brown or like light blue.
Yeah, probably, honestly. And then watching a lot of like old World War II movies, the winter battles, especially Band of Brothers. I always like that particular season.
Yep.
It's heavy, but it's a good one. So anyway, starting out with the beginning of the movie, the one scene everybody knows about and kind of really gets impacted with how they feel is that opening crawl.
Yeah, I found myself wondering, does anybody actually read those?
I mean, I would assume as much, although a lot of it kind of goes right out the window as soon as you finish up and start watching it.
And I know everyone starts to read them, but I really wonder what the number of people who start reading that versus the number of who actually read the whole thing and retain it are. Like, I want to know what that number is.
I can tell you I'm one of the ones that doesn't retain it, because what happens to me is when I start reading it, I start waiting it to think, at what point is that going to fade away? At what point does the crawl go until you can't see it anymore?
And it's not really pertinent information either. Like,
no, it's not. I mean, if you're heavy into the lore and you want to understand why, or I guess the other alternative is what happened in the last movie.
Right, but the movies work just fine even without them. Like, because they don't really say too much in the first one other than having destroyed the Death Star or whatever, something like that. They don't really go back to this happened and that happened and this happened. It's just like, here's some things that happened in the meantime. Our movie works just fine without reading these.
I suppose.
It's unnecessary.
But it's become a staple.
I know, it's iconic now. It's iconic, but it's unnecessary. It's one of the bad things about this movie. Unnecessary. Not a lot of bad things. It's to the point where the bad things is me nitpicking text scrolling through space.
That's true.
Right?
That's quite a picky thing.
It's the best movie. Best movie in the bunch.
I agree. And episode 5. Full hand.
And also, I think is the most iconic, since we already used that word. I've got a bunch of notes in here that we'll probably hit on where it's just, hey, this line or that scene that everyone knows about.
Iconic.
The height of Star Wars powers.
All right. So I opened it up with basically talking about how Hoth is the coolest battle ever. I feel something about fighting in the ice. Also, having a base in the ice to me seems somewhat impractical. It's understandable why they're there, but to have a place where you're keeping your spaceships in basically a freezer, this doesn't seem justifiable.
Yeah, but I mean,
it'd be really difficult to work on things.
It wouldn't be as bad as outdoors in there though, because they do have a seal on it. I mean, this is the future, man.
Okay, And this is what I'm talking about, that nitpickiness that
Mhm.
we're doing right now and the amount of nitpickiness people were doing in the new movies.
Oh, fuck off, yeah.
It's like, I specifically have a note in here about the space battles, of how it's almost like when they're doing the explosions and spinning out of control into space, like some of it, yeah, but some of it's just like, that's clearly not realistic. And then you're going to go into this brand new movie and say they can't drive through things. That's unrealistic.
Right.
There's no gravity bombs dropping. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, this universe does not care. Rule of Cool is on full display.
Exactly. If it looks neat, put it in.
I still think that the shot of the 3 walkers coming through the snow through the binoculars is super intimidating.
Yep.
I'm just like, oh fuck.
I do like how it starts out as the binoculars are scanning, and then you see the legs, and then they go up, and it just fills in the binoculars, and they have to zoom out, and it's just like, oh.
Yeah, and it's the zoom out that really nails it home. It's just
I shit myself.
Fuck, this is bad.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of intimidating, can you imagine how intimidating it must have been to make this movie after how successful the first Star Wars was?
I mean, probably the same amount of intimidation that the directors are feeling now for making more.
I say, what do you think is more intimidating? Making that initial follow-up to what I think was probably the biggest movie of all time at that point? Or being the one that's like, yeah, we're making the 7th one, so it's got to be good.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that would have been stressful as fuck.
Yeah, no, to follow along right next to something that was already extraordinarily amazing. That's like when people make a sequel to a game. Like, it's an incredible Halo 1, great, yeah, 2 was just as good. And then, yeah, so they succeeded, but the pressure between the two.
I think that's the biggest pressure versus going like all the ones that followed it. After you've got that second one and people go see it, it's like they're hooked.
True, it's true. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of extra quality assurance that goes into a sequel, just to make sure, be like, does this make sense?
God, wrong pipe. We're good. Don't worry, I'm still alive.
The human body is a stupid organ.
What a dumb machine.
No, yeah, I don't think I could ever. I mean, I could try, but yeah, following the footsteps of something so great. No thanks.
Nope.
I'll pass.
How much do you have about Hoth in your notes? I've got actually
Not as much as you probably have.
Yeah, I've got.
I mean, what do you got?
A good chunk of my intro stuff is all from Hoth. I
Go
went
for it.
hard in the notes on this for whatever reason.
I talked about the Yeti.
I like that Yeti. I still think it looks cool. I wish that was the Yeti that was in Rudolph instead of the Abominable Snowman one. Although they don't look too different now that I think about it.
No, they're pretty spot on.
I wonder
feel
if it
like.
inspired it.
Probably. My thing I didn't quite understand about the Yeti is, why does he have to jam Luke into the ceiling? What? Why and how?
Yeah, that is strange. I would only assume
spit ice.
Yeah, the how's actually the better question than the why. Holy fuck.
That's what I'm saying. Like, when he looks up at his feet, because I didn't remember if there was a shot of him looking at his feet.
But
it looks like it's
insert,
gelled right into there. And I'm like, how did he get him up there so quick? Or was he just holding him up there until he got
that's
frozen?
yeah, it would have to take time to freeze, wouldn't it?
And also, of all the skeletons on the ground, why did he just hang him upside down? What was the point of that?
I would assume that was because he's going to eat him for later. He basically lives in a meat locker, so the food will preserve.
I guess, but everything else he ate was on the ground.
The big thing, and I was kind of thinking about this earlier when you were talking about how cold it's in the hangars and stuff. The scene, and I might be crazy on this one, but the scene in the Yeti cave feels warmer to me. There's no sound of the wind outside. It's like, it's really quiet with no reverberation or echoes, and it sounds warmer. Like, it sounds like you're in an igloo. Like, you ever remember, like, when you're a kid digging out a
sounds?
Yeah, they did a really good job on that.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
They did do a good job in the sound part, but the one part that kind of bugged me, and this is also being extraordinarily nitpicky, is when he's reaching for his lightsaber. The mound of snow next to it clearly looks like a painted piece of stage equipment that doesn't look like snow. But for the time of cathode TV, catheter ray.
That's disgusting.
You probably wouldn't have noticed anything at all. That's kind of the curse of modern technology now, sharper images, everything else still
Right.
stands out horribly well.
When it was back in 480, you ain't seen any of that detail.
Yeah, nope.
Watch it on your toaster. These are all, by the way, still notes of just the intro Hoth scene, which is 25 minutes of the movie. I don't remember it being that long.
No,
I always remember
but
them being on Hoth and getting the fuck out of there.
I will applaud them, not to want to compare it to the prequels, but they got straight to the action. I feel like within
It's
20
a good
minutes,
open. It's a good open.
There's not a lot of politics.
Yeah, right.
And I think that's why I like that one and Return of the Jedi, because they almost open with the Battle of Endor. Or I could be wrong.
No, Endor's the end.
Okay. Yeah, that's right, because then they party afterwards.
Yeah.
Right. But either way, it's an epic.
They start 3 breaking in and getting Han Solo out, right? Or not 3, 6.
Yes.
The real 3.
Yep.
God, that's how old we are that when I say 3, that's what I think of, not episode 3. Fuck me.
My buddy Boba takes one to the backpack from a blind man.
I'm going to go ahead and also let you know that I need you to be on Boba watch, because I'm going to say Django a bunch. In my note, I only refer to him as Fett because I was like, I don't remember which one it is. Until you said that, I still didn't know which one it was because I can never get them straight.
What? Oh,
I hate both the Fetts, so I never bothered to differentiate which one's Boba and which one's Django.
Boba's Mr. Oldo.
The only way I can never remember,
the
only way I can ever remember is the song. I'm Boba, the Fett, my backpack got jet.
Is it MC Chris who does it?
I can't remember.
But yeah, no. Django's his father.
Mm-hmm. I know that now that you said it.
Mm. He's the one that gets his head lopped off. The one area that there's no Mandalorian armor to protect you from. Just a scarf.
Poor design.
Yeah.
Hey, so you know how you were talking about like the newer ones compared to this one?
Yeah.
I've got a note for you.
Okay.
Basically, I just put that Han and Luke are the original Poe and Finn gay couple.
Yep. The one.
You know exactly what scene I'm talking about?
Yep.
Where they're in Hoth base.
And they hug it out.
Before that even, he's up working on the Falcon.
Oh,
and
Luke
he's
gives
like,
him that look.
And then he turns back and gives him another one.
He does.
Yes. And it looks like they both want to say something, but they can't. Another thing to people to back off. They're like, why are they shoving this homosexual agenda down our throats with Star Wars? I just want it to be space battles. It's like, apparently they've been doing it the whole time. You just didn't pay attention, I guess.
Well, because you had Carrie Fisher there.
Woo.
She was just, really kind of taking the attention away from the men. Including
Han Solo, who's kind of a bitch about it.
Mm-hmm. Did he come on a little rapey?
A little bit, yeah, later on.
That I noticed
Before that, though, he was real mopey. He was like, I'm leaving. And then she's like, oh. And then he gets real upset that she didn't, throw a giant hissy fit about it to the point where someone's like, Leia's been calling you on the walkie. I don't want to talk to her. She didn't say goodbye. He might be a nice guy. A rapey nice guy.
So he's a neckbeard. Milady.
Yeah, he's just a good-looking one.
But he's got that jockey douchiness about him, though, too.
Can you imagine if he hadn't been right about how Leia felt about him? All that stuff he was doing up until that point where he kissed her, that would have been real, cringy.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, sorry, I'm into my brother.
Because that makes it better. I will admit there was a thing I put in there for a line from C-3PO when they're talking about trying to go find Luke before they found him.
Which they do very quickly, and he recovers from all that damage very quickly,
right?
Obnoxiously quick.
Oh fuck! I just went past it. Okay, so yeah, no, he tells him the odds of finding Luke, or R2-D2 tells him the odds of finding Luke.
Oh shit!
And C-3PO makes a note of it, and that he says that R2-D2 has been wrong from time to time, and that little bit from time to time he pauses. He leaves and then he turns around to say that one little bit. It's just like, oof. He's like, there's hope. And usually 3PO's not the one to be the hopeful one. So
I noticed that too. It seemed like it was way more. That's when I started thinking, I was like, 3PO is definitely more of an android than a robot. He definitely feels, and that's one of the few moments where they get to put his emotion on display, which I never think about with 3PO or R2.
The actor who plays him, though, holy cow, he does such great animatronic movement. It's For the time, I honestly had no idea that it was a man in a suit.
Mm-hmm. And it still holds up really well to the point where you never see it as anything but an actual functioning robot.
Right.
Or droid, I guess I should say.
On the topic of droids, do you think, like, are you just born knowing how to understand and speak back to droids? I guess not speak back to droids, but I notice how everybody knows what they're saying.
I would assume they're prevalent enough in the
Like
world
R2.
where most people have dealt with the droid, and so they understand. But what's really weird is the droids seem to speak different dialects as well, which I think would get really confusing.
For a while, I thought that there was some sort of translator when R2 was talking to Luke through his X-Wing, but then it occurred to me that R2's on the outside and probably can't be heard from Luke on the inside.
They do through comms.
Yeah, but I mean, like, he has a screen that pops up that reads.
Yep, and it did ask him if he wanted to put it in, like, autopilot, I think. It was in a different language, but...
It's kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
They can understand everything, even what Chewbacca says. I mean, for a while, I thought it was just, I'm assuming what he's saying by the inflection of his growls and roars, but they carry on conversations.
Yeah, but not everyone seems to understand what he says, which is strange. I don't know. Iconic things in the opening 25 minutes. You've got the tripping of the walker by the speeder. Or not the speeder, it's the...
It's a snow speeder.
It is? Okay.
Yep.
You've got Leia calling Han a scruffy-looking nerf herder. You have Vader saying, "You have failed me for the last time." Or actually, that might be a little bit after it. But you've got a nice right off the bat, a couple of iconic moments and lines.
I'd say the, I mean, to me it's kind of iconic, but the lopping off of the Yeti's arm.
Also, I thought they smelled bad on the outside. Almost forgot.
Yes, those poor Tauntauns.
Which they look a little janky now when they walk.
Very puppet-like.
Very.
Stop motion that they used, yeah.
Yep.
But no, so I noticed when the movie started, it's rated PG. Now, that was before PG-13 was a thing? Okay. I think so. I was going to ask why they never show the dismemberment of the Yeti's arm. They show it falling, and kind of they cut away.
Hard cut.
And I was wondering if that's to keep it PG?
Potentially. I don't remember what year it was they invented, or they brought PG-13 into the dialect, or the lexicon, whatever word you want to use, I guess. But I think it was probably after this. I used to know what the first PG-13 movie was, and part of me wants to say it's Godzilla, but I think that's wrong. Like the Matthew Broderick, that's a lot of fish Godzilla.
That Godzilla.
Yeah, the bad one. And then from there, they, I believe they go to Dagobah, don't they?
Not before Leia kisses Luke.
But not also before Leia kisses Han Solo, right?
Yeah, she's just...
No, wait, that's way after,
That's
isn't
after.
it? That's way after.
Think about it.
Yeah,
he
they're in the
wants
ship.
to. They lean in close, and she just turns away and is like, nah.
Yeah, that's right.
She's playing hard to get, and then
So they do just only have incest on Han.
Yeah. Just something about the ice, tell you what, brings it out of
Oh my
it.
god. The frigidness. Ooh.
Bleh.
But then they go to Dagobah.
So the painting, I'll tell you what, the painting backgrounds that they have, those, at the time, I believe they were in like a big giant set until you kind of, like I said, high def really ruined it. But
Yeah.
you don't notice it's a backdrop like Wizard of Oz. But also, before even, maybe it's during the Dagobah part, Vader, his ominous dome. I never quite understood what that was all about. Was that supposed to be like his meditation chamber or like a healing chamber? Or...
I always wonder too, and I feel like
Because they cut back to it several different times.
it's some sort of almost command center maybe.
But it like closes it in on itself.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
it's
he wants
on,
to
like,
keep
an
everyone
egg.
out. He wants to keep everyone else out. He wants some him time.
I guess.
I don't know. I'm sure it's been explained multiple times over, but
Probably.
Hey, if you like Star Wars and you're watching this video, please tell us.
Please.
R2 is not built for Dagobah by any stretch of the imagination either.
Hell no.
Like, that's even like the real life R2 could not navigate the set they had built. Like all those vines and tentacly looking things.
He doesn't have all-terrain wheels.
If only he had some sort of jet propulsion system.
I know. I wonder if those broke, you know.
They flooded when he went in the water. And they got
Of
attacked
course.
by that weird monster that they never show.
So, maybe it's because they're future droids, but are they all installed with some sort of sarcasm bit
They
about
seem to
them?
be.
Because R2 is a sarcastic, sassy little bot.
Mhm. He's the most sarcastic and sassy, I would say.
C-3PO has his moments, but they're very far and few in between. But I didn't know if that's just like, are they made out of an AI and kind of learn that, or is that programmed into them?
I would think they would have to be AI if they're gonna be androids, because they have to be able to learn organically. They can't just be told everything, I guess.
I mean, I suppose I know C-3PO was built to be a translator, or something like that. Human cyborg relations. Anyway, yeah. Dagobah, a messy, boggy planet that I can imagine only smells like feet.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of like snakes and iguanas and things that probably were really exotic in the 80s.
Speaking of snakes, that scene where Luke just randomly picks the snake up off the table and tosses it aside as he gets his food, that to me was a ballsy one.
Yeah.
Maybe he wasn't afraid of snakes, but I don't know if I would have done that on set. Just pick it up, throw it aside just to get my food.
Maybe they told him don't worry, Mr. Hamill, it's not poisonous, and then it bites him. And then after it bites him, it's like it's venomous.
Be careful.
Yeah. Who do you meet in Dagobah?
Who do I mean?
Meet.
Oh, we meet Mr. Yoda.
That's right. Old senile Master Yoda, who doesn't apparently remember R2 or 3PO, and is real dangerous with a walking stick.
That scene's the best, though. Where you just seeing a fake puppet, just knock on a droid, just something about that. Also, during the whole time I'm watching this, I'm thinking to myself, was there a race of people who are like Yoda?
Mm-hmm.
And like, is he the last of his kind, or he just happens to be the one that's away from everybody else?
I don't know, but he's got to come from a race. He can't just be a single being.
For the longest time as a child, I thought that's what you become when you're a Jedi for too long.
You just become Yoda.
Become this little decrepit creature with big ears and green and tiny.
I would probably become a Sith then.
Well, then you just get really wrinkly and nasty looking like Palpatine.
That's because he used too much of that unlimited power, okay?
But it's unlimited.
He seems way more Master Roshi than Mr. Miyagi in this movie. Like, he kind of has some wise thoughts every now and then, but then he does a weird little old man, like, chuckle to himself, and the way he moves around and says things that make no sense is like,
it's probably because he's just so...
He's been on a planet by himself for 20 years.
He's so old and senile and alone.
He's fucking snapped on him.
The scene with R2 hanging outside the window hut when it's raining and he's kind of crying out there. I thought it was let R2 in.
Oh, fucks.
Yeah. So rude.
Treating him like a dog. Right. And that's what I'm saying. Shouldn't Yoda like R2?
You'd think so.
Like R2 was there with Anakin and all that. Yeah, it doesn't make it's almost like he didn't have it foreplanned.
He looks like all the other Astro droids.
On Dagobah is also where I started realizing that Luke has always been kind of a bit of a moper, and it seems to be his first instinct to moan about something.
I put some in there too. I said it's probably because he's hangry. Because of those tiny little bowls and those little spoons he's eating out of.
And Yoda stole it. But people bitching about him being, for lack of a better term, a mopey bitch in episode 8 are not remembering him properly, I don't think. They've got some fantasized mind about him being the baddest dude on the planet. And it's like, if you think about it in the first one, he's like, oh, I don't want to go there today. And then now on Dagobah, he's like, oh, I can't do it. It's not possible.
Gosh.
He's always kind of been a moper.
It's true. He's just pouting because he can't get it now.
Yeah.
You know, like today's society. Touchy subject.
He's, it must just be a Skywalker trait.
Could be.
Because Ben Swallow, he's got it too.
Ben Swallow.
He's a bit of a moper, and they have the same reaction too.
Well,
same as Rey, same reaction Rey had, that he gets upset about her going right to the darkness. You didn't even try to fight it. When he goes in the cave, 2 minutes before that, Yoda's like, it's the trait of the the Jedi to be defensive and the Sith to attack. And he goes in there and he defends for like 2 swings, and he immediately goes on the attack and chops off Vader's head and sees his own head in there. Then Yoda has like a disappointed father look. It's like, you didn't even try. You went straight to the dark side, and now you're mad about her doing it? Worked out for you?
Yeah. But the thing though, I think with Mr. Ben Swoblo is he's trying
It's
to
so stupid.
he's trying to fit in with or he's trying to live up to his grandpappy's footsteps. Like, he was known to be terrifying, and then you've got this man who, I'm gonna get myself a big old dark black ominous mask, and I'm gonna have kind of breathy noises when I talk, and then he gets put down by a man whose half face is caved in. He's weak.
Just a thought. It's whatever. Dagobah also is the site to quite a few of the most popular lines, I would say, of Star Wars. I mean, you've got
Do
some.
or do not. There is no try.
That's the one.
Deep.
I was gonna lead in
shit.
with like the lower ones, like excitement, adventure, Jedi craze, not these things. But you went right for the. You went right for the number one.
Well, I mean, it's the number one.
This is true. And also, search your feelings. You know it to be true.
The little conference call between the three of them.
Yeah. Yes. Hold on. Let me patch him through.
Oh, hey, nice to see you. Let's get this little Skype call going.
Can you guys hear me? Really would have taken out the feel of that scene. Oh, man. Also, Vader in that cave used to be one of the... This movie, I think...
Terrifies you?
Oh, my fuck, yes.
Same.
Even still a little bit, I'm just like, ugh.
I was a little...
They slow down the frame rate.
I don't know why they do that, though.
I think it's like... It's unnerving. It's not the natural way of seeing it, so it immediately tells your brain, like, something's weird about this. Same with the quick zoom out on the walkers. I think this movie, they went way darker than the first one. That might be why, as a kid, I liked it.
I know the third one gets a little bit darker, but as far as in the sequential order, yeah. No, it's... I think they kind of... I think being on Dagobah in general, since it's dark and swampy, you can kind of get away with that almost, I don't want to say horror movie feel, but it's a little bit more...
It's like horror light.
Yeah.
Like kids horror.
Dark, there's snakes, it's swampy, there's like the random stuff hanging down, so it just looks like your haunted area.
It seems like a real like classic Hollywood idea of what scary is. Like, it's kind of same cave you would see in Indiana Jones when it's trying to be like dangerous looking, but from like old Hollywood.
It's the it's the not symmetrical and uneven lines.
Yep.
All while they're on Dagobah, by the way, they're also on the Cloud Planet. Bespin.
They're going to Bespin.
Well,
which I mean, yeah, same timing, I guess, because he's got to go save them. The city in the clouds, with the coolest character in Star Wars,
Mr. Lando Calrissian. Smooth caped Mr. Steal Yo Girl.
I can't tell you how not excited I am for Solo movie and him being played by Childish Gambino.
You just have a disappointing taste of Childish Gambino in your mouth.
Yeah, and I don't think he's as smooth.
Donald Glover.
He's not as smooth of a criminal. I could be wrong, but I don't think I will be.
Donald Glover. Dong Glover. Dong Glover.
There it is.
Transformers.
More connections to episode 8. There's a scene where Darth Vader is mad because a captain was unable to stop the rebels from fleeing, and they're like, report to him, and then he chokes him and he's all mad. Episode 8, the same thing happens where Snoke is pissed that what's his name?
He's your favorite guy too.
No, he's
the
not.
redheaded dude.
He's not my favorite guy. What you talking about, Willis?
You've been called him before, though.
That's true. I know the actor's name is like Donald or
I can't
something
remember it
Gleason.
either. It's slipping my head.
Admiral Hux. That's what it is. Admiral Hux. He lets them escape at the beginning of episode 8 off that planet that they were very similar to the Hoth they were hiding out on, and he has to report to Snoke, and he just immediately cracks his face off the floor. Some parallels. Parallels. It's very good. I think he would have died in real life, though.
Yeah, maybe some broken bones at least.
He would have got a concussion and just straight died.
I did have a note in there. It says Vader's just choking bitches out left and right.
Mm-hmm. He suffers no fools in this movie.
Mm-mm.
I always really liked Bespin, and it does kind of serve as the opposite of
It's like floating mushroom.
Dagobah. So Dagobah, everything is like it's wet and it looks like it sinks. Versus,
It's the complete opposites. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you have your swampy, low,
Yep.
nasty shit, and your up high cloud city. Well, not even city. It's a mine.
It is weird to think about how pristine it looks for being a place that sounds like it's built just for like gamblers and scoundrels to hang out in. But on the outside, it looks really nice.
It's a strange thing to me to think about that place is built to be a gas mine, and I'm thinking gas as in like vapor gas. But what is that gas used for?
I don't know, man. Science.
I guess. But you'd think they'd have a better means to do that. It's the future.
I really like when they're on Bespin too, the joke they do of 3PO going into that random room because he thinks there's like R2 units or something stupid in there.
That one always kind of made me question what was happening.
He gets shot by a stormtrooper.
But the thing that makes the noises before it sounds like it's an alien, because it didn't sound like a stormtrooper.
I'm not sure what made the noise, but I thought it was funny that he goes in there and gets shot, and then when they turn it back on him, he's like, "Oh, what? Oh, a stormtrooper! I gotta tell, I've been shot." I like that he retains the memory of after he's been broken a little bit.
He booted up a couple seconds behind.
Yeah. Sorry, we had to find your last save point, right? Your most recent file. I like that. I like that little touch. It was funny.
The one thing so between there, I know. Actually, no. Yeah, it's on that planet. Before they go to that planet, the way that Han Solo gets away from the capital ships, he attaches himself on there. It made me wonder, like, do they always just dump their garbage before they do a warp jump?
That's what he said.
But why?
I don't know. Maybe
was it like
lose
actual
weight.
garbage, or was it like battle damage shit that they just didn't use anymore? Or?
It seemed like rather large garbage.
That's what I was wondering.
So I would assume they go out and collect some of the destroyed ships and try and salvage, and then just dump the rest of it out in space just for weight reasons before they get moving.
It's littering in space, I guess.
I mean,
it was a clever idea, though.
It is really an issue, and I was gonna say something about it, but it is an issue. It's part of why it's getting harder to launch them space shuttles.
Mm-hmm.
The best part about that scene is the introduction of Boba Fett.
There you go.
Mostly because the only thing I like about him is that Slave One ship. Oh, it's so cool, and the sound it makes is so good.
Well, not in these movies, though.
Not in these ones, but it gets good.
I will admit, the prequels really gave him good ship noises. Holy balls!
It just sounds mean.
Mm-hmm.
Like it sounds like that thing is.
Sounds like a muscle car.
Yeah, it's gonna run you over. Yeah, it's not trying to shoot you. It's just gonna just straight up hit you and destroy you.
It's so it's like when you have a hypercar that's really clean and not as loud, and then you have your muscle car that's fucking.
Oh, so much cooler. Oh, but it can't keep up with the Millennium Falcon.
Nope, nothing can.
Yeah.
And it's a freighter ship,
which is really strange.
But my guess is you have to have a lot of power to push freight.
Well, that old hunk of junk, you know.
Which makes me also kind of the shape of the ship was meant to have like a thing on the end of it so that it pushes stuff. So it's like it's a spaceship version of a tugboat.
Oh.
And yet it's the fastest one.
It just moves real well. Speaking of Boba Fett, I didn't remember or notice this before, but it's more fuel to my I hate the Fett fire. So I was
unpopular opinion.
A lot of people are wrong. People voted Hitler into power. I don't know what you're trying to say here.
Voted?
Mm-hmm. They voted Hitler into power. They chose him to lead their country, and then he was like, "Gotcha." The long-standing thought I always had was he's the worst bounty hunter because he doesn't do anything. And the big thing was like he catches Han Solo, and it's like, no, Darth Vader does. And I was like, no, he doesn't. It just doesn't happen. But I didn't realize how bad at it he is. So they open the door, and then he immediately goes, and Vader's like, no, stop, don't. And he blocks them all with his hand, and then he pulls them over. He takes his blaster with the Force right. And then when it cuts back to him, you see Boba Fett start walking over towards Vader. Like, he was not in there during that initial scuffle. He waited till the situation was completely non-dangerous, and then he was like, yes, I also am here, and I caught you.
He tracked him down, though, so he was just kind of making his presence known. Being a fellow smuggler, he's showing his face to Han and his sense of challenge.
I'm just saying, he's a bitch. Boba Fett is a bitch.
Nah.
He's an overrated bitch.
Just because they don't give him a story. You know, when you get old, you start slipping. He's pretty old at this point. Just saying.
Yeah, fuck the Fets.
It's overrated. Like he was retired and he had one last job.
I still think Jar Jar Binks does more for the story than Boba Fett. He gives up the Senate power. That bastard. Anyways, so they catch him.
This never-ending fight will end. Will cease. Yes.
They catch him, and you get another iconic scene of Han being dropped down to be frozen in carbonite, and Leia hits him with the "I love you."
I know.
Ooh, smooth operation.
So the biggest problem I always had with that was his hands were in shackles and tied down.
And then he comes up.
And then he comes up, and he's unshackled.
Mm-hmm.
Was someone down there quickly undoing his shackles before, and then is the carbonite freezing like two pieces that press him together?
Yeah, that was strange to me too.
I don't ever understand that. Like, what is this?
Well, maybe he got his old trusty lockpick down there, and he was like, I can get out of this, and he's like, no, I can't, and then he got stuck there.
That's a good point. Can't say I ever thought of it like that though.
Or maybe it just froze so fast that his reaction was like, and it snapped it. But I like to think he was trying to break out and got caught. Because he's a smuggler.
It's true.
Or maybe it's continuity error.
Probably
that.
No one ever looks into it. They didn't think people were going to look into it that hard, I'm sure.
They were wrong. If they didn't think people were going to analyze every bit of Star Wars, they were wrong. Dead wrong. Oof. Oh my God. What else happens on Bespin?
I made a point to ask why there's so much smoke and fog going on in that carbonite freezing chamber, like all through the floors and everything else. I'm like, I guess maybe it's prepping, maybe it gets really hot and they, whatever.
Exhaust steam.
Also, what do they even use carbonite freezing for anyway? Assuming it's not for transporting people, because it's not, because Boba said he wanted him alive and was worried that it was going to kill Han.
Because Vader said they wanted a test before they did it on Luke, who's the main. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if carbonite itself is a new technology that they're trying to test out, or if maybe it's something they use to like move other, like maybe
transport
produce
other goods,
or
in
things
like a sealed environment.
Yeah.
Because also, like I said, and it's in carbonite, which makes me think it's two pieces of block smushed together. However, there's a bunch of electronics going around the entirety of it. So
like where would everything come from? Yeah.
Puzzling.
Very strange.
So simple things, so puzzling.
The magic of science fiction. Luke also starts to fight Vader.
In that exact area too.
Yes. Well, they meet a little bit before that, and then they end up fighting through there, and then out to the little. Not sure. It's not really a catwalk because it doesn't go anywhere.
Like a service area, probably.
Yeah. And that's where you get undoubtedly the most iconic line and scene in Star Wars. Which
impossible.
Is exactly. That's line. The one. Yes, that's everyone goes around. They're like, I like Star Wars. Me too. It's impossible. More moping on his side.
Yep.
But you get obviously the "I am your father" scene.
Mm-hmm. Can we just make a note that Mark Hamill was a very ugly crier?
Yeah.
That face.
No, most actors know how to like single tear, not him.
Yeah. The mouth with all the teeth and gum. It's like, damn, dude.
Vader also not good at hide and seek,
He moves around like a ton of bricks. He's just very
yeah.
But then again, when you're the most powerful Sith,
it is cool how he floats down the stairs though. But he's hiding in the shadows, and all I can think is he's gonna hear you coming a mile away. Where are you, Vader? Are you over here? No, you must be over there.
He can't even try and hold his breath because it's an automatic thing. He just shuts it off on his little chest plate, and then he stands there, starts to suffocate.
It had me dying a little bit when I started thinking about that. I was just, I also started wondering, what's the the canon and story reason for the different colored lasers on the ships, do you think? Like, why the good guys always shoot green versus red?
Well,
I was thinking maybe it's like
the other way
manufacturing, or
it's the other way around.
that makes even less sense.
The bad guys shoot the green, and the good guys shoot the red lasers.
Wow.
I don't know why either. Like I only know that because every time I think of the lasers, I always see frickin' TIE fighters shooting them off. That sound, though. Oof.
TIE fighters, another great sound. Yeah.
I want to say it was the mix of a passing car, like the tires on a wet street, and I think something with elephants.
You care to do an impression?
No.
You don't want to go across the microphone so it does the zoom?
That's terrible. You get it.
Not professional sound effects, sis.
Not at all.
But I was wondering that. I can only assume maybe it's like the model of the lasers they're using, maybe the different, because in video games and everything else, they have different damage to them, so maybe it has something to do with that. I don't know.
Could be. Also, that scene, the iconic scene, after Luke gets his hand lopped off, after Vader is extending his hand out to him like, hey, join us. He extends his hand out, and then Luke just decides to fall, and then he just drops his hand, and he looks at him like, well, shit.
Didn't see that one coming in. Also, he gets his hand cut off after he tries to do an attack. Should have just kept defending.
No.
And then he falls down, and the not ventilation, but the chute that he lands in is very strangely shaped.
Yeah.
Because he's going down super fast, and then he just kind of stops.
Yep.
And I assume
almost
it's
like sucks him in too.
It does, yeah, into it initially, yeah.
So I'm wondering if maybe it's like a suction pipe, but
it never made sense to me how that operates, because he's going straight down and then just bleh.
Yep.
So it's got to like you up here. So what else is shooting down into that?
Maybe it's a gravity well.
I don't know. It was weird.
And then the fact that he stops at a certain point right where the doors open below him, that kind of part makes me...
And then drops him.
Like, so if it is like a pulling vent, is that where all the garbage collects at the bottom of the vent before it goes back up? And
but
so
it seems such a bad place to drop it, because all that, whatever he lands on is hanging there.
Yeah.
It would just hit that. And it's so weird.
And then it goes out onto an antenna that's hanging upside down.
Yep. That's what I'm talking about. That's what it would hit if they just dumped there. But they have established in this universe they have to dump stuff. Maybe that's what it is.
Dumping off ships.
Yep.
All sorts of ships, cloud cities. Garbage is just a reoccurring issue, no matter what future we're in.
And then we also get to see the first hint that Leia might not just be the hot girl crushing on Luke.
Oh, no.
They might be related? What? She might be Jedi.
There is another one.
Oh. When they do their little force talk, which no one else can do, I assume. I don't think you can just force talk to someone who is not a force user across that large of a zone.
He was talking to her. It's that sibling connection that they don't know they have.
Ew. Gross. Oh my god. And do you have anything else to go over? Because that'd be the end of the movie.
I kind of mentioned how the film doesn't end like the rest of them. I mean, it kind of does, but like I've noticed the first one and the last one all end on some sort of celebration, like an award ceremony. And so the one in the middle just kind of ends with everything
bad guys on top
hanging in the balance, which makes sense but yeah, just something I kind of noticed.
I think that's part of why I like it so much.
Because bad guys on top?
Yeah, bad guys are on top, and the heroes are having to run away. It makes so much sense. They do it in episode 3. Bad guys come and destroy all that stuff. Luke dies, and then they have to skedaddle out of there while they hold him off.
True.
Bad guys on top. It makes the next movie more interesting, because it's like, shit, what are they going to do?
Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Anything else?
Nope, that'll be it.
Cool.
Honestly.
And so I guess we'll wrap it up then. What's your what the fuck moment?
Fuck, I actually didn't give any of these any thought, but I suppose, like every single time, if I have to. Last time I was prepared, not this time. Moment. I would have to say it would be the Yeti. The gluing to the ceiling thing. Always kind of puzzled me, but at the same time I never delved into it and just kind of gave it maybe its permit like instant ice. Who knows?
That's something I think I will see every time I watch it now, probably.
You're welcome.
I'll just be like, what the fuck? Mine was the bad CGI on Chewbacca's feet when they're running through Bespin.
I hate that you pointed that out, but it's the shadowing.
It is
what it is.
It's very straight and angular, and there's no feather to it. It's just a block of like black that they put in there, which seems so unnecessary. And I wonder if that's one of those like remaster things, or if it was always like that.
Because the background
so weird.
looked a little bit more CG than it should have.
That's what I was thinking too.
It didn't look like a painted background. So it's unfortunate that we'll never get the originals on the DVD.
I wish I could remember the name for that painted. Bothers me.
Chiaroscuro, and that's not, no, that's not what it is. I just really like saying that word.
No, there's an actual word for those. But what was your favorite scene?
Favorite all-time scene of that particular movie? It's the Hoth battle. Every time I go to it's the one scene I always think about when I think of, well, which Star Wars movie do I really like? And then I have to think of the scenes, honestly, before I think of what the actual movie is. So I always think to the Hoth scene. It's either the Hoth scene or would be in the next movie, the Ewok battle, or the Battle of Endor, but it's always a Hoth scene up front. First of all, because I really like snow speeders. The shape of them is really cool. It's almost like a sled, so they were almost meant to crash. And second off, just the big giant fucking AT-ATs are
so cool,
intimidating.
They get taken down a little easy, but really cool.
They're super armored, like they were blasting armor. Blasters don't go through that armor, but they have a weakness.
And that, I mean, I guess if they didn't have someone there with a lightsaber, they probably wouldn't have stopped them.
The other thing I would have liked to see, though, is the AT-ATs themselves. I mean, are they used strictly for a weapon? Because they seem like a good transport also, but they never kind of show that.
Yeah.
Because the big giant hole in the middle, I know, is supposed to hold stuff like and drop troops down, up and in, but they never utilize that in any of the movies, as far as I know. They never show
it, yeah.
So
that makes sense. My favorite scene, I think might be my favorite scene of all of Star Wars, is Luke versus Vader. Like the very start of it, like the first section, because they kind of do it in like three parts. But the very first part where he walks in to that like really dark room, and they've got the lighting under the stairs, and everything's very shadowy, and he just, and then Vader, or no, I guess Vader would go first, or did Luke go first? I don't remember who shot first. But then they just answer with a real quick little. And it's like real silent, and they just kind of walk in, and there's nothing else going on, no score or anything. It's just it's super intense.
It was before the lightsaber battles became all about flips and jumps and shit. I want to say for the longest time they wanted it to be, the sabers were supposed to be heavy.
Like actual
super
swords.
Heavy, which is why they always had the slow battles. But prequels changed that.
Yeah, it's. Let's be real, it was probably because they were hard to wield around by old dudes. Like Ben can't go flipping around.
So Luke learned from an old dude, and therefore just fights like an old dude, even though he's not.
He hadn't read the text, he hadn't seen the Jedi books.
He didn't learn about the jumps.
It's even the way it's shot, I think, is really good at like that. Not suspense, but I guess just tension, because it's really slow and drawn out, but as soon as they clash a couple times, it cuts real quick, and there's just a burst of action, then it goes right back to being slow and drawn out shots. It's
kind of how like a real fight would be.
Yeah, and they really accentuate it in the cuts, like how long it'll stay on a shot. They play to that, and I just it's the best. It's the best.
There you
go. Who was your MVP?
I don't. If I had to select the one person I'm going to go for this particular film, I would say Yoda. His character, being his first introduction, it is his first introduction, isn't it, right?
Yeah.
He's not in the first one at all. No. I didn't think so. Just kind of setting it up, having his first kind of meeting with an alien life form in general. Like everything else, I mean, yeah, they met in the cantina in the first movie, but his direct contact with someone who is an old as fuck Jedi, and he plays the coy. He keeps his cards close and he plays coy. Like, he seems like it's like he's trying to play being insane and crazy, but you notice towards the end of it, he says it almost like it was a test the whole time, because he said he doesn't have patience. That's because, Yoda played the cards of, I'm maybe going to be this crazy, insane guy and see how Luke handles it, and clearly he didn't handle it well at all. But as soon as has the task of lifting the ship out of the water, it's like, that's when he lays him out and is like, you have no idea who you came across.
That's when Yoda pulls his dick out and plops it on the table.
Basically, yeah. So that would be my MVP. No.
I went with George Lucas.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of the few times like I'd talk
George
about
Lucas originals, not George Lucas prequels.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
It was just like he really took what he did in the first movie, and there's a bunch of knocks on him, like dialogue and not a great director, which he didn't direct this one, which was a good choice to have someone else come in.
He didn't. Who did?
It's like Ivan something, I don't know. But the world building in this one is like spot on. You get to go to the other planets, you get to see other species, you get to see
expands.
And this is the first one here he really did that, because in New Hope you see Tatooine, and then you're on the Death Star, and
for the most part
that's pretty much it. This you get to start really fleshing out the idea that this is a living, breathing universe.
He flexes his sci-fi muscles by giving you different worlds to explore.
Yep.
Ivan Kirshner.
There it is.
That's who it is. With the writers of Lay Brackett. I'm probably saying that wrong. And Lawrence Kasdan. And others.
Others. Nice.
Is that like the... we didn't get to read a plot summary. Let's do a plot summary.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say most people probably are familiar with the plot summary of Empire Strikes Back. In case you're wondering, it goes as follows. The Empire Strikes Back. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's why they end on top.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'll throw a bit of trivia at you. So the colors of the different buttons on Darth Vader's chest plate vary between the movies. However, since time passes between each movie, it's not unthinkable that he has his life support equipment refurbished every single time, which is why
swapping out for new buttons.
Exactly, upgrades.
Maybe he does it for seasonal things.
It's kind of what people. I didn't realize this either, but the Stormtrooper helmet varies in different movies as well, very slightly, as far as like where the little rubber gasket is. Also, Boba Fett, his color of his armor changes, not by much, but like his gauntlet pieces like are green and or red depending on which movie it is, and then his gloves also get little circles on the back of it in certain other movies. So I don't know if they're trying to, if it's a problem with continuity or upgrades.
Again, I'm sure they were fully aware that everyone would look into every single aspect of the universe, including Boba Fett's bracers.
That's fair.
And Darth Vader's buttons.
On the topic of also George Lucas and his mindfulness, granted he didn't direct the stuff, but it's a shot trivia. The shot where Luke is retrieving his lightsaber from the snow, do you know how they achieved that?
They play it in reverse.
They did. He threw it into there, and then they played in reverse, which I thought was kind of cool. I honestly thought it was a fishing line thing.
You'd probably be surprised to know how often things are just in reverse.
I would be, actually.
It's to the point where that's my go-to guess. Did they do it in reverse? Yes. Okay, cool.
So, that's all that I got.
Cool.
You have anything else? Did
Nope.
we miss anything?
No, I got it all. I think we hit every single note I have in there.
Okay. Yeah, so that's it for the most part. Back off track from the movie itself. I don't know if you guys noticed our really cool looking sign we have here.
Yeah, I apologize for being unable to read this. We're going to have to figure out different background to put there so it doesn't blend in so well.
We have ideas.
Network works real well, though.
Exactly. Anyway, that was created by one of my good friends and her father. If you want to check out their stuff, they do custom work. They are the website is Southern Sun Metals, and they do custom steel cuts and make copper lawn art, which I didn't get any copper lawn art, but I also got a dick butt cut out, and it's pretty fucking dope.
It is good. Oh my god.
If you want to check out their stuff, we will post their website in our description link at the bottom of the description. You know, as the
People always
YouTubers
point
say.
like that, right?
Yeah,
That's
a
the
table.
below thing.
That thing.
Yeah, under the table where I sit pantsless.
Also, maybe you'll notice our video quality is slightly upgraded. We did a slight upgrade in our camera, and yeah, we're just improving. Granted, we're still not getting that constructive criticism. I crave it.
That's uncomfortable, what you just said.
Someone could use it as a sound bite. All right, no, that's about all that I have. You good?
Mm-hmm.
We'll wrap it up. We have been Dudes Watch a Movie. Good night. Or good morning. Or goodbye.
Just be good. Yeah.
It's in the front.